Chapter 7 from the book talks about various ways to manage websites involving servers and various files. And there's really, in this chapter, a variety of different elements that allow you to clean up a website and to actually get it to use Dreamweaver to upload items to your web server as an alternative to using Firefox. Or I'm sorry, not Firefox, FileZilla. So the first part, it actually just goes through and shows a few different operations that will clean up your website. One that I think is kind of interesting is if you go under the Sites Manager and go down to Reports, it'll bring up this document that you can check for any untitled documents along with missing alt tags. And when you run it, it gives you a report down here. It's kind of like a spell check in some ways that you should run on your pages of your site anyway, just to make sure that there's nothing out of the ordinary. One thing that many people that criticize or critique web pages or websites do is if your page is untitled, it causes people to lose credibility or points like that. And right up here at the top of the cafe page we're looking at, for example, it's untitled. So if we just go open up another one of our pages, for example, the About Us or the index. The index has this long title, so what we need to do is probably copy this title into the other pages, and then that error message would go away. And that's just something to do to check. So I'd run through and check those. Another item that they mention in this first part of the chapter, in this first lesson, is the ability to leave notes for other people who may be working with you on a team, or ideas like that. And what you do is go to File, and you can leave design notes, and you can actually place a status if it needs attention, if it's a revision, things along that line. And when you save a note, I'm not gonna do it. I just want to mention this is where it's located. It'll actually add a little icon, and I'm looking on page 712, Dreamweaver 7-12. It'll actually add a little note icon so that someone else or you could see that there is a note listed for the website. I'm going to move on to lesson 2 here, and this is maybe the best part of chapter 7. Now, it's also an optional thing to do, because if you are comfortable already using FileZilla to upload your items to a web server, that's fine, and you can continue to do that. However, built into Dreamweaver is an FTP operation that allows you to securely FTP items to a web server. And what you need to do that is, I'm going to go to Manage Sites, and I'm going to edit our site. And if you go under Server, I already have this set up, but I'll bring up the settings screen. And just like in FileZilla, you need to put in a few items of interest. First, the server name is entirely what you want to call it. I just use Kent Research. The connection, SFTP, and research.kent.edu. Your username and password are your Flashline username and password, and then you can save that so you don't have to type it in every time. You can actually hit your test server connection, and it'll check to see if you do successfully connect to the server. Now, again, realize, and I'm just saying this because sometimes people may not think, you do need to be connected to the internet to be able to do this operation, just like you do with FileZilla. So what I want to do actually is, just to be safe, I made a backup of my entire website before I played with this, because it does change, and or potentially can change the structure of your files. And what I mean by that is this. Let me get in here and kind of show you. On the Files panel is where you can actually connect to the server, and if you since we already set it up and we know it connects, I can hit the connect button right there, and it actually is now connected to the Kent server. Now there's a few things you can do with this, and throughout the second lesson they talk about various things. One is getting files and the other is pushing files. What that technically means is I can drag items to the server or download items from the server. So that's the get and the put, and that's how this works here. Now I can also change the look, and this is the way up till now we've used Dreamweaver to look at our files is under local view. I can actually change this to the remote server, and it shows what the remote server is. It looks pretty cluttered, and the main thing is this: I have a folder called public HTML. Just like with FileZilla, anything in public HTML needs to be anything in public HTML allows the item to be broadcast on the internet. Now what potentially could happen is if you start getting and putting files from the local, so say I hit activities, I can put that file to the Kent research. It's going to give me a warning, or do I want to take dependents? That just means anything connected to that, do I want to take it, and it will actually upload it that way. And depending on how many you have, it could take a couple seconds, it could take a moment or two. So some people like this better because you don't have to use a separate program like FileZilla. Some people don't like it though because it's a little backwards from maybe the way other people were used to using it. I want to click on this button right here to show you that this does have a split screen. Well, this is kind of backwards from FileZilla, where in FileZilla the left screen is the local computer, your the USB drive or your hard drive, wherever items are saved. On this it's backwards. Over on the right side is where your items are locally on your USB drive, and then over here is your web server. So it can be a mess, it can be a little cluttery, but it is an option, and then I can click this to go back again. And what I just suggest is make a copy and save it to two different places, another place on your hard drive, a USB drive, and experiment with it. You may like the Dreamweaver option better, or you may like to use the FileZilla method, whichever one you like is entirely your choice.